I started, I couldn't think of exactly what all the pieces looked like. And so I just got online and looked up, chess pieces, traditional standard chess pieces, and then just sketched those out very roughly. It also led me to, I have no idea what a rook was, and sometimes people call it the castle. Why are all these things different characters? And then why is the rook a castle? And so it's just like a fortification. So I read a little bit about chess, and I used to play chess when I lived in Birmingham with a roommate of mine, but I haven't played in a long time. I have a Michael Graves chess set, which is another kind of abstracted designer chess set at home. My daughter loves to take it apart and put all the pieces everywhere. But I was like, maybe I would get back into it if I designed my own chess set, and I always did enjoy it. So, I just kind of started here. And as we talk about this in studio and everywhere else, I had no idea where I was going. So, okay, well, what about just a simple abstraction? What could we do with the king? What's the characteristic component of the king? And it's just a cross. And then the bishop. And I was like, okay, well, why is the bishop like that? Why are all these pieces like this? And it occurred to me that most of the pieces are made in a lathe, a revolve process, and then there's just some other additional thing that they add to it. So they have to cut out the area where the cross is on the king. They add some details for the crown, for the queen. They cut this extra little detail in here on the bishop. And so that led me to look up, okay, well, why does a bishop look like that? And so I did some just Google searches, and I kind of came to the conclusion that maybe this is based upon the hat that, Catholic clergy wear. So, that led to some of these. What is a simplification of a crown? I didn't really, this first series of drawings I'm just not at all excited about. And then I was like, okay, well, what, and let me show you what happened next. So in my search for inspiration, you weren't supposed to see that one. In my search for inspiration, I got on Pinterest and I looked up, I've got like a board that is just dedicated to interesting forms, whether it's a helmet or some other things. And I found these, and I also get suggestions. So these like kind of flame-like sculptures came in here, and there's really no rules as to what we can do with these, right? So you could find a theme. If you wanted to make a chess set that's based upon, Star Trek or Star Wars or My Little Pony, or, I was thinking yesterday I was thinking it'd be kind of cool to just make a Lego set of chess. But I kind of got into this and I saw, all right, well, these flames are interesting. And I saw that this morning while I was still kind of half awake. And so I was trying to remember, and so that led to this. And then what about just a simple flame? That's not really hitting it. What about something that has legs? All these have like a pretty firm base. What if we lift this thing off a little bit? And so I'm kind of excited about the potential of where this can go. And so, I did the rook first, and then I said, okay, well, what would a crown look like? Maybe I could do that, and then that continued to lead on to some more sketches, and kind of went back into the bishop and maybe the king with the cross. I like where this is headed. I like where this is headed. I don't like what happens with the rook. I couldn't figure out a rook that would fit well if this is an abstracted crown. And I said, okay, well, let's try this flame thing. And I started with the king. And again, I'm trying to kind of pull in a cross. And then the next one turned out to look like a fish, so I'm not too excited about that. But then I did the bishop, and I think I could get away with one that looks really cool like a bishop. I think the challenge is going to be maybe with this is going to be a crown or, the tower or the rook. I can see getting a king in here. A knight. And the other thing that I thought about is, why are the knights horses? Why don't there's like some pretty cool helmets out there that could make some cool characters. And so I kind of played around with these, and I was like, all right, well, let's move on. Well, it's just a nice shape. And again, I kind of went back and I looked at the way that this was lofted off the surface. Well, what's another simple thing? And it took me back to when I was in second year at Auburn. We had a professor, her name was Laura Prang, and she, I think the first project we had, and this was back when we were on quarters, and this was like the second of the progression of second year classes. And the first assignment we had, she said, I want you to build 4 rectangular boxes out of foam core. They just need to be rectangular boxes. One of them should represent masculinity, one femininity. What's the word? Is that right? Jolly was one, and I can't remember what the fourth one was, but I was like, well, can I just make a masculine versus a feminine shape? I don't know. But I sketched this first, and I was like, you know what, that I like the broad shoulders. I like, there's something about that. Does this, and it's really crisp edges, maybe. What if I do one that's the inverse? Maybe this kind of, sadly, I was thinking about a dress, maybe, as far as that shape is concerned. A little bit softer edges. Well, maybe I could go even more hard edge for something that's masculine. But I kind of like where this is headed. But then I was like, well, what can I do for a horse or a knight? Maybe I could do something a little bit more like this. The bishop, like cutting through with that, I think that kind of worked into a bishop. And then I just wanted to look at, one of the things that got me excited about the flames is what this would look like if you had a bunch of these pieces on a chessboard, just kind of coming up. One of the other thoughts that I had was, what if you could do skylines? You could have like Chicago versus New York, or you could even go country versus country. I don't know if anybody's looked into these things. I didn't even know that there were 3-player chess sets, but they're like chess sets that are divided into 3, have triangular things. But I wanted to just kind of walk you through at least the thought process that I have. And what we'll do in just a minute is I'll put on some music, and I'm going to keep sketching.